A regular meeting of the Kaufman County Commissioners Court. Today is Monday, May the 23rd. It's 9 o'clock, and of course we're meeting upstairs due to the early voting, or not the early voting, but the election that will be held tomorrow downstairs in our regular meeting room. We appreciate all of you being here today, and if you have an opportunity or if you've not picked up an agenda, there's some on the table there. If you wish to address the court on an item that is listed on the agenda, please fill out one of those forms and give it to the county clerk in the back, and she will process that and get it to us where we can hear from you a little bit later on during whatever the item is you wish to address. So I've asked Commissioner Allen to give the invocation. If you would, please stand.
Father, we're so thankful for this day that we can come here to discuss the business of the county. We pray that the decisions that we make will be done with the wisdom and knowledge that you've given to each and every one of us. But that's a special prayer for Karen's husband. We don't know what the emergency is, but we pray that it'll be okay. And this time of year, as elections come off for our local and for our nation, we pray that you give us the guidance that we need to select the right people to put you first in everything that they do and seek your wisdom. Continue to bless our country as you always have and keep us safe, especially from the evil one. In your son's precious name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Everybody, I wanted to introduce one person. Get my agenda. Somebody always gets my agenda when I get up here. I don't know what the deal is. I'll find it here. I need another cup of coffee. Wanted to introduce Phil Major. Phil is the publisher of the Terrell Tribune, and he's here today representing the Tribune and I guess the Kaufman Herald as well. Steve Dickerson, I understand, has left and gone into another position, and so we're glad to have you with us. And I'm not sure whether we have any of the other news media here or not. Yeah, and if you stand and introduce or have Rebecca and whatever you'd like to do.
Okay. Karen Badgley is our new ADA working in the civil department, so everyone please welcome her.
Alrighty, as far as routine correspondence, the only thing I have, and I believe the commissioners, you do have a copy of it, of the monthly sales tax report for the month of April for all of our cities. And you can look at that, and I think all of our cities, most all of them are up and pretty healthy gains in some of them too. So that's always a good sign for our county, and wanted you to be aware of that. The next item is the consent agenda, and you have 4 items. They have 4 items. The acceptance of the meeting minutes for April the 25th, 2016, May the 2nd, 2016, May the 9th, 2016, and May the 10th, 2016. Item B is to discuss and consider approving bond of Dennis Jones as judge of the county court at law. Left a while, all 3 of us like. Item C is to discuss and consider approving requests from the Farmers Electric Cooperative to construct an electrical power distribution facility across Adams Trail in Kaufman County Precinct 2. And then D is to discuss and consider approving deputation of LZRR Carrillo Jr., I'm sure I didn't pronounce that right, as a reserve deputy constable for Kaufman County Precinct 3 Constable Office. Anybody have any questions?
Item C should be precinct 4, is it precinct 2?
Precinct 4.
No, this is Adam, correct?
This Adams. We're
Yeah.
building, you gave me one.
Adam's not on there yet.
It's not on
This
there.
is precinct 2.
Forget that.
It's good.
Precinct 2, we're good, Mr.
Okay.
And I'd like to make a motion to approve APC and this table item B till we have our budget talks.
Okay. Anybody else have any thing they would like to add before we vote? All right, the motion is that we accept items A, B, C, and do not approve item D. Table that. Everybody understand that?
Yep.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, I did not get the second year. Thank you.
Commissioner Rulon. All right, the next is to recognize Constable Jason Johnson for completing the Constable Leadership College. And Constable, if you'll stand up here, I want to present this to you. Jason has attended this Bill Blackwood Law Enforcement Management Institute of Texas, and I believe you completed 100 hours, it looks like. That's correct. And through the Texas Constable Leadership College. And this is through Sam Houston State University, presented by them on May the 6th, class number 12. So this is a lot of work and effort. 100 hours is a lot of work, and we congratulate you on success.
I'm sorry.
This is my new wife, just got married Thursday, so.
All right.
Amanda, we should have hollered at me first.
There we go.
Yeah.
Thanks very much. I appreciate it.
All righty, now number 4 is Tanya Bradfield, our tax assessor, to present her annual, or not annual, but her monthly report.
Okay, I collected for our general fund this last month was $234,172 in M&O and $26,400 and some in INS, and $39,310 in delinquent taxes. For something I would also note here is $1,250 in rollback taxes. That was 2 1.5 acre lots and 1 15-acre lot near the Rockwall County area. And so that could give another $1,250 for general fund for rollbacks. So total collected year to date, $30,430,993 for general fund. For the road and bridge, collected $44,794 this month and $5,300 in delinquent taxes, for total collections of year to date on road and bridge of $5,304,329, and then some money for rollbacks also for road and bridge. Are there any questions on this month's tax statement?
Question from anybody?
No question.
Like, we're right on schedule. Yeah. That's good. Now, I'll entertain a motion to accept. Have a motion from Commissioner Allen, second from Commissioner Phillips. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed. Item number 5 is to discuss and consider approving a resolution proposing final adoption of a proposed rule change to Chapter 217 of the Texas Administrative Code regarding vehicle title and registration fees. And I believe everybody has a copy of that. Tanya, you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, D&D is sort of been kicked us off the side and been told, find a way to support yourself. So the way they're finding to support themselves is take the money away from the county tax assessors that they're giving them to process their registrations, our registrations. And they have decided, one of the big things that they've decided that will hurt us the most is, they believe over the next 5 years, online registrations will go up to 50%. And so they're going to take online registrations. And where they now give us $1.90 to process each online registration, they're gonna give us a quarter instead. And we still have to do the work of looking at it online and checking it, making it right, fixing it. And then once we tell them everything's good, they drop the plate in the envelope and mail it. They get the rest of the money, we get a quarter.
So they're actually gonna mail it though.
They're actually gonna mail it, so that, it does save us some mailing costs.
I figured we'd have to mail it.
No, but even, yeah,
They haven't thought about that. They
well,
messed up somewhere. Yeah.
they're actually looking at hiring a company to organize it for all of the state. The tax assessors see that as a problem, not just financially, and for us, that financial problem is way past 300,000, almost 400,000, 380-some thousand. Just that one hit alone will make. There's other hits they want to make. But one of the things that we see statutorily, the tax assessors are given the authority or told that it's our job to do online registrations. So we have a dog in this fight, and we're sending, I'm sending my own letter. A lot of the tax assessors are sending their own letters, and they're asking their commissioners' courts also just to do resolutions, and because we want the board, this is the time we have to report, no later than the end of today, is to report to the DMV board how we feel about these proposed fee schedule changes. And we don't feel good about them. We don't feel good about them all. There's nothing good about them. There's a lot of other changes to full and limited deputies, which we don't have here, which is like if we had a Kroger or somebody else that was doing our auto registrations. But for other counties, that would be devastating because they're saying that they would just give it up. There would be so little money, it wouldn't be worth it. Now we put the full impact back on the counties again, some of the larger counties like Dallas and Bexar County, and then they would have to have a lot more staffing. So there's a lot of things they're proposing in there, the biggest things of which is the fees changes. And the other thing is they're proposing that they currently decide, they want to decide who gets to be a deputy and who doesn't get to be a deputy. But all that liability is statutorily on me. So why do they get to decide who gets to be a deputy and not me? Because it's my name on the line if they screw up. So there are a few things in there that I pointed out in my letter, and I'm asking the commissioners to sign a resolution just to make sure they know this county is not happy with the way they're going about doing this fee restructuring. So it's not real specific. It's, but Rebecca has looked over it, and it's basically just to say, hey, we don't like it. We don't like what you're doing.
So we're gonna send a copy of this to both our senator and our state rep to make sure that they're.
Well, I hadn't thought about it, but that's a good idea.
Absolutely.
We can take care of that. We'll send them a copy of when the commissioner signed this and write them a letter as well. Or you can do that, whatever you'd like to do.
Well, I think it can come from you and her office.
Okay, we can do that together.
Okay.
And this is just, you're gonna hear a lot about unfunded mandates this year, and this is just another kind of a backdoor way that the state of Texas takes money away from the counties. And that is a big theme that we all heard, or several of us heard last week at a meeting, where the state continues to come in and take money. And this was through a state board, not the legislature,
Right.
from what I understand.
That's right.
And so, I mean, that's just,
Unelected officials.
yeah, right, that's just not right. And so we're gonna do everything we can to fight this, and it amounts to about, how many?
Well, just the online registrations alone, it would cost us about $381,000.
Yeah. And that
over the course of
equates to
5
about,
years.
just so you will know, that equates to a little over a half% on our tax rate. So, 300,000 here, 400,000 there, and man, it starts adding up. And so, but anyway, I appreciate you looking at this. Does anybody have any other questions?
Send it to the senator, maybe they'll defund that board.
That's
what they
want
need
some
to
new
do.
members. We
Yeah.
need new members on the board.
Yeah.
All right.
I had a friend bring this to my attention that they was gonna do this, and so I sent this to the judge, got with you, and we got this, and we definitely need to move this thing forward, and I'll have Commissioner do the rest.
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Shane to approve this resolution, a second from Commissioner Allen. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed. And then I need to pass this around and get you guys to sign it while we're all here. Item number 6 is for Mr. Oldfield, our treasurer, to present and accept the Treasurer's monthly report for April 2016. And I believe you have copies of that.
They don't have copies of that. Good morning, Commissioners, good morning, guests. The general fund, Fund 10, began April 1st with $15,345,548.10. We had receipts of $1,215,831.16, disbursements of $3,006,762.07 for an ending balance of $13,554,617.19. And, you know, the $13 million ending balance, you know, our payroll and payroll taxes, insurance, and retirement, you know, we set aside a little bit over $1 million each 2-week pay period. So that puts our $13 million in balance a little bit in context. We've earned $7,074.44 in interest for the general fund. Total interest income was $11,302.31, and all of that money is at American National Bank under our depository contract at 35 basis points. I wanted to point out on the next page of your report is our other proceedings. We processed approximately 412 receipts, wrote approximately 606 AP checks, juror checks of 100, payroll checks and deposit vouchers of 1,124, hard copy payroll checks of 190, direct deposit stubs of 934, and some other activity. The next page, I want to point out, I had a citizen ask me the balance of the law library cash. That is account 025, and that law library cash is $241,508.98. Judge Bobby Rich administers that. That's a highly restricted disbursement account. I just wanted to be responsive to the citizen's question. And then the other thing, 2 more pages in, is where we've got our separate bank accounts. This page are standalone bank accounts for specific purposes. And I wanted to point out to the court and to our guests that toward the bottom, account 128, the 2014 road bond cash, we still have $11,228,797.91 in that account at the end of April. I wanted to include that to get you some information. Then you see your road and bridge reports, Commissioners. One last thing I wanted to hand out is we prepared this on Friday. K.W. Winkins, the assistant auditor, helped my staff member, Debbie Graham. This is something that is part of the core treasurer's report. We're working diligently to get greater best practices implemented in our function so we can be state-of-the-art like so many of our other functions in the county. And this just lists our debt obligations, and it is the interest and principal of to retire our debts through time. It's $62,850,826.93. So this will start to be a part of our monthly treasurer's report, Judge.
I like this.
Thank you. Thank you. Again, we're getting ourselves in line. I've made good acquaintance with our Rockwall County Treasurer, David Peake. He and I are going to start having monthly lunches, and you know how those things grow. They'll be so good and entertaining for us that we'll get some other treasurers involved here in our North Texas region. So there's my treasurer's report. We'll have a little more information to run on to with our next agenda item, Judge. But there's my treasurer's report that I'll submit for approval.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Oldfield?
I like that too.
Yes.
Thanks for including that. If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the report. Commissioner Raleigh makes that motion. Commissioner Phillips seconds the motion. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed. All right, thank you. Next item is number 7. Also, Mr. Oldfield, to provide an update. This is not an action item, but it's just to provide an update regarding IRS and state controller positive pay issues arising from expansion of accounts subject to positive pay controls.
And thank you, Judge. Last month, we indicated to you that just right, as that Commissioner's Court was coming together, we had received notice from the Internal Revenue Service that one of our EFTPS deposits, which was timely made by the Treasury function, had been rejected. And so we went into management mode, and as time went on, we had, and this is the update, that EFTPS deposit cycled through one more time without clearing through the positive pay system. And we finally got it to clear the third time. And then as these things were occurring, we had a couple of our state comptroller payments didn't clear through positive pay, and that's the documents that are here in the first part of your, what was sent and made part of the agenda. We had a payment for our county criminal costs and fees of $258 and $68.56. We had to take 2 runs at that to get that to process and clear, and that form is there. And on this, we make $18,681.66, and that is contingent upon timely filing and paying. So they were timely filed and timely paid. We've just got to explain our way through our positive pay glitch. We had another report, a civil fees report, where we paid $59,637.90, and on that report we earned $514.65. So same process there. We've proven to you with the TextNet history report that all of these have cleared now, and then we give you individual TextNet reports for the 2 different filings showing that they paid, and a letter from the auditor Karen McLeod to the state comptroller requesting grace and mercy and pay us our $18,000, please. And from my first encounter with Rod Dietz, he's always been very gracious, and he's told treasurers and a large group of people here, we're gracious and merciful. So little glitches we're going to be very easy to get along with. And I know I've got relationships at the state comptroller's office. I have a high level of confidence that there'll be no negative consequence from that. And then on the EFTPS,
Ronnie, did you have an idea of what kind of time frame this?
No, again, in this is the auditor's bailiwick on this end, and I'm trying to be respectful of her thinking that she would be here this morning to speak up for her, give her own input. I feel like it's a fairly straightforward turnaround, Judge.
Basically what we did, or the way I understand it, we just got the money there and it didn't clear through.
The positive pay routine is where we inform American National Bank through electronic means, this is what has been issued on these accounts. And we have been doing this for a long period of time on our main checking accounts. We expanded that to virtually all of the accounts that the treasurer directly controls. And in this transition, then if the bank gets something presented that we have not told them is there, there's communications that they make electronically to the audit staff that this exception has popped up. The audit staff has the ability to clear it. And then the last control is the bank can call me on my cell phone before something is rejected.
I'm not trying to place blame.
No, I'm not
anybody.
either. I'm trying to inform everybody of the process.
Right.
So we've got a number of fallbacks and controls, Judge, and
work.
they just all don't work. So I feel even with the IRS charging us a return check fee, all of those things are to get people to comply, and as soon as they comply, then grace and mercy is typically extended. So I see, in my strong belief, there will be no consequence to the county monetarily, and we've all had a great humbling experience, and we've all gotten additional training to make sure that we're all on board. And American National Bank has been 100% supportive of us in our efforts, and again, there's no blame, Judge. Anytime you seek to be greater and improve, many times there's stumbling
Well, I
blocks
hope
that
we,
you didn't
I hope
see.
the IRS has the same attitude that you believe the state controllers have.
Well, again, and you know, you see from the last IRS issue, they do. You know, and it does take time and skill to get to the right people to ask the right questions. But typically, once compliance has been achieved and there was no intentional disregard for any rules, again, I'm reluctant to go out on too thin a limb, but I have a high degree of confidence, Judge, that this will all take care of itself. And again, we're not here to assess anybody's blame, we're just here to inform the court that we are working through an issue where we are trying to improve. Okay? Any questions, gentlemen?
This was just an informational report, so I'm glad you,
Appreciate the update.
yeah, I am too. Steve, you're here with the bank, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Well, I don't know that I can add a lot to what Mr. Oldfield said. It's just one of these unfortunate things that happen. Really no one's involved, it just kind of goes in the cracks. But I do want to make a commitment to the court, to the county, that if there's any financial repercussions to the county, American National Bank's willing to step up. There will be zero financial repercussions to Kaufman County over this. So,
Do you do that on like personal?
We can talk about that.
I'll come by.
Depends on the person.
Might have old line.
Thank you, Mr. Oldfield.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you.
Rita Williams, and I'm not sure if Rita is here. She provides for us quarterly, February, March, of April 2016. It's pretty well self-explanatory. Does anybody have any questions about that? It's just a presentation. We don't.
It's a good job. She does a lot of work. She has the last page there in this report that tells you what they're up against out there, and it's been, most of it's still the same situation, staffing. You know, so.
Again, it looks like the 29-hour, mandate is really
Yeah, but still.
putting in a tough spot, yeah.
All right, Chief Beaver's here on item number 9 to discuss and consider paying $15,080.57 out of state asset forfeiture account for a used 2015 Ford Fusion sedan 4-door. That's an mouthful.
Y'all realize under chapter 59, with the sheriff not being on the ballot, we've got to bring everything to court, and that's why we're bringing everything to the asset forfeiture at this point. So what we've done is we've got a vehicle that is broke down, that is a seized vehicle. It's costing us quite a bit of money, so we need to get it out of here. These are CID vehicles, and what you remember the last police report, most of our CID vehicles are seized vehicles, I think besides 2, if I remember correctly. So what we want to do is replace this vehicle with another seized vehicle that we're going to purchase out of seized funds. But we priced everybody around, and Paul Murray gave us the best deal on a used vehicle, which we bought them other 2. And I've had some other people look at it, and $15,000 is really good for this vehicle.
Five board didn't have to look at it. Five board didn't have to look at it.
No, sir, not on the state asset
You
forfeiture.
okay with everything doing so? I'll make that motion.
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Shane to approve this purchase, and a second from Commissioner Allen. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Those opposed.
Thank you.
Number 10 is also from Chief Beavers to discuss and consider paying $494.68 out of state asset forfeiture account for detention officers appreciation week. This would be for events you have at the jail, I believe.
Yeah, sure. What we do it every year. It's the same thing we do with the law enforcement is we wind up having meals for them, telling them we appreciate it, and we wind up going to butchers and buying a bunch of sandwich stuff and drinks and chips and all that, and everybody comes to work and let them a meal and tell them we appreciate it.
And this is something you've been doing, or the sheriff has been doing.
We've been doing it.
You always just done it this time because of the change in sheriff law requires it to be brought to the commission court.
That is correct.
Anybody have any questions of Mr. Beavers?
No, we couldn't give give her meal back.
Yeah.
We might as well do it.
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion from Commissioner Allen, do we have a second? Second from Commissioner Shane. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed. Item number 11 is similar, and that's to discuss and consider paying $1,116.33 out of state asset forfeiture account for law enforcement appreciation week.
And this is what we normally do every year. We work with the DA's office. The DA is usually does all the golf stuff and everything, and we always pay for the food for all the officers on the appreciation week. It was supposed to have been last week, but the rain, they moved it to June, but we still gonna have to pay for the food. And that's law enforcement for everybody in the county, so whoever all plays golf comes out for that one.
It's not just the sheriff.
It's not sheriff, no, it's constables, Corning PD, Kaufman PD, whoever all is going in, Terrell PD, everybody.
Make a motion. Have a motion from Commissioner Phelps to approve. I have a second. Second. Commissioner Rosales seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed. Item number 12 is also from Chief Beavers to discuss and consider paying $3,556 out of the state asset forfeiture account for 60 body camera kits.
So, first thing, I apologize for not being in school last time, to take care of this issue, but I was tied up, and the person that's supposed to be here called in sick, so I apologize for that one. What this is a grant. We got a grant through the JAG, in which we wanted to go out here price some cameras, in which we've already using some cameras. If you notice through the bids that I gave you, we're gonna save about $30,000 doing it this way. Pro Vision cameras are what we're using. We got them to knock 25% off the cameras what we're doing. So our part through state asset forfeiture would be the $3,500, and then the grant's gonna pick up a little over $10,000.
So that'll totally pay for these 60.
Yes, it'll pay for all these 60, and what we'll do is we'll put 5 of these on the street, and then we're putting right around 10 of them in the jail. We've already got some in the jail now.
Well, yeah, that was gonna be my question. How many do we have?
Right now, we've got about 8 on the street, and they're having to move around and download data off of them. And then we've got 4 in the jail, which has helped us in the jail too, because you never know when they're recording. So inmates, they decide to start acting up, they don't know if they're being recorded or not. When we have disciplinary hearings, we can play this back for them. So it's kind of helped us all the way around.
Like triple what we have.
Oh, yes.
More than triple.
Well, the problem is what we're having to change in the shift and trying to keep them charged up. This way, we're gonna issue to them the individuals, they'll be responsible for it, they'll be assigned to them just like we do any year, and then they'll keep up with it, keep it charged.
Right. Okay. Anybody got any questions? I was gonna ask any anecdotal stories you might wanna tell, but that's not really on the agenda unless you just wanna include that.
These have a 1-year warranty.
Yes. We've had,
What is the upkeep on it once they get a year or two old?
there's really not much upkeep. We'll have to send them, get them repaired if they break them and stuff like that. We've had them a little over a year and a half, and we haven't sent one back yet. We've had really good luck with them. Yeah, it's how you take care of them.
We use the same brand, we've had.
Other than that, it lasts.
It's how you
We
take
use the same brand, we've had good luck with ours. Good.
It's been really good. It's just how you take care of it. It's like a car or anything you got, it's how you take
That's
care
what,
of it.
the maintenance on anything is what.
The biggest thing we've got, which, we've already bought that out of federal, is, where we're gonna store everything, because data, that's the biggest problem, when you do this digital stuff, is storing data. We're having to store all this stuff, so we've already bought another server, we got that going, so we got that already planned.
How does that data storage work when you charge it?
You got it.
Does it,
No, you gotta download it, so they take it, put it on the computer, we put it on the server, and they download it, and put the dates and stuff. Underneath the racial profiling law and all our videos and our policy, we keep everything 120 days. If it's gonna be put in court, we'll take it and put it into evidence, store it for the DA to go with whatever case. And then the next part is we're gonna store it on that. After 120 days, if there's no complaints filed or nothing, it's not using anything, then we remove it. So that's how we're trying to keep our data covered. That's the biggest thing any police department's having, is storing all this data. So we've got to stay on top of it, keep it moving. We don't need it, get rid of it. So we keep everything 120 days.
Need one of them big clouds.
We'll get George talking about all the bad stuff.
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion.
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Phillips to approve, and Commissioner Allen seconded that motion. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. No opposed. The next item is item number 13, and this is to discuss and consider approving a contract addendum to the master services agreement with Securus Technologies for the Kaufman County Law Enforcement Center. I believe you have some information about this.
Yes, sir, we put that in there, which we all know that contract goes to the commissioner's court. All of it goes to the general fund, y'all see it every year in revenue. The FCC has made some changes in how they can charge and how they can do some stuff. And if you get into that question, I've got the expert from Securus here that can talk about the FCC. I've been following. They're making changes. They can't charge near as much. And they have put this addendum into the contract. It's not going to cost anybody any more money, but it's also not going to impact our revenues coming in that we've got budgeted also. I think that's something, we look at it, where decisions y'all want to make, but I think we're going to have to do something on it, or we're going to have to do a whole contract.
And this is where the federal government got involved.
This is for the FCC on all the charging and stuff on these phone calls to these parents of these.
Anybody have any questions for Chief Beavers or the Securus representative here?
So our revenue is gonna go down from, 199 down to 28,860, is that right?
So if you look at the addendum document here, you'll see that option 1 is what we're proposing. Option 1 would increase the calling rates for the inmates who place calls out of the law enforcement center, but would, the goal of that option would be to leave the commissions whole for the county so that they would not be impacted. It would leave the revenues that Securus earns off of those calls and fees that we charge to set up accounts whole, and it would ultimately not cost the friends or families of those inmates any more than what they're paying today to be able to place calls. Options 2 and options 3 are other options should we, or should you decide not to have an increase in calls, then the other option would be to decrease the commissions that the county earns off of those calls. Option 3, as you can see, would decrease that by $6,500, and the net result would be, instead of $21,000 a month, you'd be looking at around $14,700 per month. So that's why, again, our recommendation is to go with option 1 as the type of amendment to move forward with and modify the contract that way, because we'll leave the county whole and not impact the commissions.
And then what other counties has already went with option 1?
Yeah, let's see, I met with Grayson County last week. They've gone with option 1. Some of the larger counties in the area, like Dallas and Tarrant, are actually opting, in some of those cases, not to go with any commissions, but they've got so many other methods of funding with the general fund that the amount of money that they earn from phone calls of inmates is pretty minuscule.
Cities are a little bit.
That's right. But the counties, your size counties, are almost to a county all going with option 1 because it leaves everyone whole, doesn't cost the friends of everyone. That's your commission. So if you look at that commission minutes, there's on average 800,000 minutes of phone calls per month made by inmates out of the jail.
That's amazing.
It is.
That's like a lot of time. Did we give them a cell phone carrier?
They got the little old phone like we usually use.
It just seems like it is
Oh, yeah.
that many minutes.
Well, when one sits down, another one takes over.
The good news is all those calls are recorded.
I know every time I've been in there doing something. It's like glued on something constant. Yeah.
2,346.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm on it. That's amazing, isn't it?
And of all
I got
those
nothing else for
calls,
this.
I guess so.
the revenues generated from those calls, 55% of which is returned back to the county.
As
Get Xbox in there or something. That's what them.
as the DA's often had a chance to look at.
When I sent it to you, since it's a contract, I did not send it to them. They've had the contract. They've always looked at the contract before it gets to y'all, so.
I haven't been the one to review their initial contract, but I'd be happy to do it.
We might want to include that in the motion, subject to approval of the civil law.
What's, do you want our attorney,
I don't have it off the top of my head.
Down for the copy.
Was this signed 7/16/14?
Yeah, it probably was.
It's a 2-year contract.
2 year.
Options to extend.
Well, this wasn't 1 year option, so, no, it's fixing to expire.
July.
Yeah.
July.
What some of the counties have been doing, like Grayson County, for instance, they extended their contract and rolled this case in contract extension. That's just, so they only had one thing to approve, as opposed to just simply signing off of this addendum and choosing the option that you prefer.
That's something we can do.
that would be the easiest, because the addendum adopts the new FCC rates, and then it'll just roll over in the term in July, and it just rolls over as the new contract, so.
I know they've gotta have some, what's the deadline y'all gotta have to get it turned
By
into
the
that?
by the 31st, we need, of this month, we need a decision.
Where they can relate.
So that we can at least lock that in and say, okay, we're gonna go with option one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as far as executing the contract, we've got some leeway on that.
Yeah. Whatever
They
y'all,
just need-
whatever y'all's pleasure.
Well, yeah, I say, I make a motion that we approve this pending council's approval of the
And just send me over the original contract, and then I'll pair it together with the addendum.
approval of
Do
the
you want to
contract.
include the contract, extending the contract?
Well, that's pending.
With our
today's-
Approval?
Yeah, approval of it.
Okay, is that okay, Rebecca?
I'm looking at the language really quick. No, it's good as it's written on that item 13. Just add in the, pending review approval.
Yeah.
Okay, so is used, did you get all of that? We have a
Yes,
motion, let me get a, we have a motion from.
The emergency says okay.
Yeah, we have a motion from Commissioner Rosales, do we have a second? A second from Commissioner Shane. Laura, did you get everything you need?
I believe the only change that was made was subject to the approval of the district attorney.
Yeah. With the 2-year, but you feel okay about that?
Well, I mean, it's automatically gonna renew as it's written.
Oh, automatically.
You have to give them 90 days notice if you don't renew it.
So this is one have to bring it back. All right, we have a motion, from Commissioner Rosales and a second from Commissioner Shane. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Those opposed. Thank you very much for the presentation. Thank y'all for being here this morning.
Appreciate you, Coach.
Okay, item number 14 is from Ms. McLeod. She's not here today, so we hear from KW, our assistant auditor, the deputy auditor, and he will present the county auditor's report for April 2016. And I believe we have a copy of that on the table that we got here this morning.
Also emailed this out table last week.
Okay.
Some of the highlights, currently as of April 30th, the general fund has collected $32,521,052. It's rounded, which is a 6% increase from last year at this point. Expenditures as of the same time period is $20,647,183. That's a 7.75% increase from last year, so we've spent only this year than we had last year. You can see several different, the same type of analysis through the different departments through the general fund. It seems like it's stuff through the Fund 20, general road and bridge, as well as each of the individual road and bridges. Do you have any specific questions on any of this that would be on the auditor?
This is for 7 months, so we're about 58% of the budget, so we're doing that right on target, looks like. Yeah.
Correct. You can even see on, it's pretty obvious to be able to, we have that much revenues in as taxes, but if you look at the insurance, official fees, other fees, and interest earnings, we're also above that mark in those, so we're doing very well with revenues.
Yeah, we always comment on big strengths, so. We're doing
Yeah,
very well.
the state of the economy.
Yeah. I shouldn't say that, I'm a Baptist, so I shouldn't. Anybody have any questions for KW? All this is, all we're asking here is for us to accept the report. It's a good report, and it's very helpful to us to keep record with all the different parts of the county operation. Commissioners get enough that they report of their road and bridge accounts, so it's very helpful. Very helpful. Have a motion from Commissioner Allen. Do I have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Phillips seconds the motion. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Thank you, KW. Okay, item number 15 is to discuss and consider approving a resolution in support of the creation of a regional emergency communications district. If you remember, a few weeks ago, we had representatives here of the 911 organization that is through the North Central Texas Council of Governments. And the legislature created an opportunity for the 911 emergency report or center out of COG to form their own district. And whereas now that 50-cent fee that goes to the state that they have been using in the past to help balance their budget, that money would now revert back to this district and would not be sent to Austin. And so the caveat to that, every single governmental agency in the, I think, 10 counties, or there are maybe 11, every single governmental agency, city or county, has to approve this. So you have a copy of the resolution. Anybody have questions?
I'd like to make the motion, because this is something that's rubbed me the wrong way since we started talking about the 911 call center, taking our money and keeping it. So I make a motion with the resolution.
We have a motion on the floor from Commissioner Pollock. Who did you second? Who seconded? Mr. Shane seconds the motion. Chief Beavers, I think you wanted to say something.
Yeah, the only one thing I'd say, I think it's a great thing. I know we talked about trying to do our own board and trying to get legislature to do that. I think the big thing that we want to look at in the picture of this is we got to realize all the equipment that they've already got in place, the manpower that they take, and the technology we've got in place now. We have to, if we changed our ways, we'd have to do that, and it costs us a lot more money. And I think this is the best way to get our money back to us and get representation here. So I think it's a great thing that we do that and get involved, and I hope everybody else gets involved in this.
Hopefully.
We can get our money
We just
back
have
to our
to give
account.
us more flexibility, or give our COG more flexibility on how we can spend that.
Exactly.
We just gotta make sure we have representation on that.
That's gonna be the big thing. We need good representation.
Have you heard from any other cities or anything?
No, I think, I know that Rockwall County approved, I think most of the counties are kind of like us, they're just not doing it. And I don't know what we'll do. We'll have to reach out to the other cities in our county, and we may need your help to do that, to ask them to approve. I think there's a simple vote they take. They don't have to necessarily do a resolution. We'll find that out. And
One of them have to, every single city.
even
if they don't have police or anything.
So if we had something, everyone, all the cities in our precinct, we could go to those.
yeah, and it has to be done at one of their council meetings.
Right.
I don't think it involves any other, it doesn't involve school districts or fire districts or ESDs or anything. It's just the government and the city council. So, anyway, we have a motion and a second. Do we have further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Item number 16 is to discuss and consider purchase of a Durapatcher Model 125 TJT trailer, 2015 demo patcher with 326 hours for precinct 4 in the amount of $49,500. Lisa is our interim purchasing agent. She's got information for us.
Well, I have the information that Commissioner Allen sent over from Texas Patcher. He's done quite a bit did research and said that this is a fully warranty used piece of equipment that we can get for a lot less than what it would cost to purchase a new one. We're also, and it also is including warranty on being a used piece of equipment as well, so.
Same warranties are brand new.
Which is
Year.
it seems like everything has a year. Elevator, door patcher, radio.
I'm sure they might have an extended warranty, but I don't know what it is.
They don't mention the state. If they did, we'd be using it.
Okay.
This is a full 2-year warranty, what it says in your, email, your
It's gonna be a
email.
year.
Well, it's a year on, full year warranty on non-rare parts, but 2-year, totally refurbished with full warranty, 2 years on engine and blower, 1 year on non-wearable parts.
It sounds
Like on a
better than
car.
an elevator.
Yeah. Or I'll take years.
I agree after walking up those stairs.
Make the motion.
A motion from Commissioner Allen to approve. Do we have a second? Commissioner Shane approved. Seconds the motion. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed. Item number 17 is to discuss and consider Road and Bridge Precinct 4 purchasing a 6,000-gallon heated tank for emulsion storage for Bureau Corporation.
Yes, again, Commissioner Allen did his research and came in, now this is actually a new piece of equipment, but there's, 2 additional, quotes to back this up. He's getting quite a deal on this one at $49.5, the other 2 quotes are for $62.5. It's coming in and it's including, this is including your setup and all, correct?
We have to hire a crane company because our track load won't reach 30-something feet in the air to set it, so we've got Carson County crane coming. I think they charge $350 or $550 to come out, set it up, and back on.
Yeah, it's pretty cheap.
That's a separate.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was good deal.
I mean, $250 to get here, then so many dollars an hour, depending on how long they're here to stand it up.
If they drop it, they're responsible.
I don't want to be in.
All right.
Basically, it's cool.
Do we have a motion on item number 17? Commissioner Allen makes that motion. Do we have a second? Commissioner Phillips seconds the motion. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Item number 18, also from Kaufman, is to discuss and consider a resolution to accept the solid, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. Yeah.
Did it for misuse.
Nope, we didn't. This one.
Oh, this one's yours? Oh, I just have the 3 following.
Okay.
Yeah,
Item number 18 is to discuss and consider a resolution to accept the consolidation and transfer of all the city of Terrell birth and death records to Kaufman County Clerk's Office pursuant to the Health and Safety Code 194-23.
You should have already received the resolution, but I wanted to give you a little bit more backup data. Several years ago, we had got with the city of Terrell because one of the state's initiatives is to consolidate local registrars within a county. And presently, Kaufman County had 2. Terrell was always a local registrar, which means that they recorded their own birth and death, and they also issued any local birth and death out of their office. And one of the things that the state's initiative that they had put in Rider 21 wanted the central vital registration because it provides more efficient and consistent customer service, better quality control, better fraud prevention control, elimination of the duplication of the records, and elimination of confusion of where to file and where to obtain an event, a birth or death record. A lot of times they'll come in and say, I need my, long-term birth certificate, and we'll say, where were you born? In the city of Terrell. We have to send them to the city of Terrell. And city of Terrell's resources are limited, so they require a 24-hour turnaround time. And I believe that they've been looking at their jobs, their procedures or duties in the city of Terrell. And John Rosenwald, the Secretary of City, Terrell called and said, you know, several years ago, we talked about doing this consolidation, well, the city of Terrell is ready to do it if you are. So I got with the state and got with Rebecca, and we, Texas Health and Safety Code outlines the the requirements for it, and it basically says that the person who's gonna take over the duties in the books will attest to the fact that there is sufficient revenue and resources to assume those duties. The Commissioners Court has a resolution before them that we got from the Department, the Texas State Health Services by the Statistics Department. And John, if this is approved here, John will present it to the City Council on June 7th. And at that point, we'll work on a date to transfer those revenues. The information that I also provided was most of the books in Terrell began around 1930. There was a fire, and so they said that a lot of the earlier records were lost, but the books that they have are in good shape, and we give you a picture of just a snapshot of that. There's approximately 50 linear feet required for the book storage. Terrell in 2015 issued about 600 or so birth and death certificates. In 2014, they were a little bit less. When you go to the 2015-16 City of Terrell budget, they estimate around $12,000 of revenue that they collect. For every birth certificate that we issue out of the state, the county collects about $18.50 of those revenues. So this will increase our issuance. It'll double the issuance that we do now. Like I said, there's a picture of it, and then there's a resolution behind it.
It makes sense to me that it come to one place. Yeah. You know, that it's just, they're the only ones that aren't here. Carroll's the only ones that aren't here in Kaufman County, so that'll make everybody in Kaufman County.
How's this gonna impact your office employee wise?
I think it will increase the business at the front counter.
I mean, are you gonna need additional employees to?
No, we can assume these duties.
Okay. So we'll assume of the employees we have, the revenue will be up.
It's gonna be up, but that's not, that's not.
Yeah, you could-
Yes, and that'll be reflected, in this budget, this upcoming budget.
You couldn't afford it for it, but
We approve this
No,
today,
that's-
then
yeah.
the city of Turtle's doing a joint resolution to approve this also.
Yes, they have a copy of what we have, and as soon as it's passed here, I will let John have copies.
On these files that you have here, we're gonna have to send them off to have microfilm or anything, or?
Well, I would like
archives, or-
that addresses in that section of the lease that, and I don't know if you want to get into that right now, but my proposal is to extend the lease. Well, the proposal right now is to extend the lease over at Larry Gonzalez's office. So I have two ladies working over there, and I'd like them to bring the books in, do the inventory, and then see how far they can get on the scanning and the indexing.
well, with the city of Carroll, would they pay for any of the,
Yeah.
any of the microfilm and books? that
Yeah.
we did there?
I have not got with John on that topic, but actually the money for preservation, the state only allows the local register to collect $1 on each certificate issued. So the most he's gonna have is, $600 last year for preservation of that record.
Unless they carried over their money from year to year to year.
Yes, but the state also said that there's a requirement in the health and safety code for them to give us that money.
So whatever they have, we're gonna get. Is that what you're saying?
I would assume so. There has not been any mention of money transferring. But
That's a
this is-
state statute though.
From the standpoint of the state, this is a big initiative that the state is putting on all throughout. There are several JPs, some counties have 4 JPs that are local registers and county clerks. And there's been so much fraud in the area of birth and death. The state has gone so far now as to say that you will buy your paper from us through the vendor that we choose, which has increased the cost on it. We have requirements now that have not been defined that also require the fingerprinting of all the people who come in to access birth and death records. They are doing their best to eliminate fraud, streamline that process. And they put it into, it's called Rider 21, they put it into the state, because these are the changes that the Vital Statistics Department would like to see, and they put that through to the state, and the legislatures said yes on several of them, but consolidation of these local registers was their number one agenda item. It just has not been passed as of yet. But several of the other initiatives to downplay the fraud and has been accepted.
Convenience for our citizens. Sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I think it's a huge deal.
So we have a motion on this.
I second.
Mr. Shane makes a motion. Commissioner Allen seconded the motion. I'd like the records to reflect that my birth certificate was not in the ones that burned up. I was not born. Mine was in 19. I'll not get too specific, but it'll be a little later than that. Just get.
What, that was before 35?
Huh?
When was that?
I don't remember when you say they burned. I didn't know they burned.
Yeah, we're moving over there. I was surprised at where are your older books, and she said the city had a fire.
Well, motion is second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Good deal for everybody. All righty, item number 18 is to discuss and consider. Did I miss one?
No, 19.
19. Item number 19 is to discuss and consider extending the lease of office space for county clerk records for an additional 6 months utilizing records archive funds to pay for the lease. I believe, Ms. you have the information on this.
As we talked previously, the agenda was submitted for use of the consolidation and imaging of the records that we bring from the city of Carroll. It just basically is the same lease. We could have went on a month-to-month basis on the lease that we had, but I think Rebecca thought it was cleaner if we didn't. So it's submitted as an extension of the lease, and Rebecca also made sure that I submitted and have recorded a conflict of interest submitted by Larry and recorded. And basically, we just want to continue using that space to take care of these records. There's money that was put into records management, or the records archive fund, rather than only putting the money in for 6 months. Karen made it to cover more than the entire year. So there's more than enough money in Fund 113 under lease agreements to cover the $3,200 through the end of this budget cycle. And we can address it in the other 2 months after that in the next budget. But it's proven to be a community being accessible. There is, right now, the probate records are across the street. The girls are winding that up. And there are so many, I can't tell you how many times the probate people who are doing land research need to see those old probate records. They go all the way back to sovereignty, and a lot of the probate records hold transfers upon death of land title. And there are so many times that the girls have to go across the street to get those old files. It has just been so convenient to have it over there and make it available.
How quick can you get one that's 1950?
Right now, we just walk across the street.
That's pretty easy.
It's been so convenient.
I want you to know, I got one on my mother's estate the other day from Dallas County. And it only took 45 days.
So,
Isn't that terrible?
so this, the project's moving along very well, and once they're all digitized or whatever we call it, it'll be so much easier because you'll just be able to call it up, and you won't have to get hard copies at that.
Yeah, because you only have to certify it. In other words, they can print it and certify it, and then it's.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be.
Yeah, and the statute said, pre-1950, that anything that's been imaged and verified, the clerk can destroy those documents. 1950 and back, those are going to be common records, but we'll still have a fairly large file storage of old probate records, but that's a good thing. Who wants to throw away a record that's 160 years old? And you can't duplicate that.
Do we Commissioner Phillips seconded the motion. Jimmy, I believe you're going to
recuse
myself. Abstain. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed. And show Commissioner Lodge is abstaining. Also, item number 20 is to discuss and consider approving the use of county clerk record archive funds to purchase a powered high-density mobile storage system from Southwest Solutions using TXMAS, TXMAS, state contract, -14-710110.
Well, she had me come over there and look at her records, and with all these coming in, it's gonna require more storage with getting these big books that are bound and all this stuff. She's busting in sinks right now. She does have room to install this, but the current, storage that she has, like I said, that one's getting full. So what she has found, is what is generally used pretty much throughout the state, and this already hooks up with what she has. It's already, and Bobby's already come in and looked, and everything's already pretty much a go. Did get a few other quotes on this, as a matter of fact, but they came in, and they did come in less expensive, but they were not apples to apples quotes. It was a lot, you could tell kind of from the photographs she showed you earlier, these books are gigantic and they're huge, and some of the actual weight of the construction's not gonna hold what she has. And the tracking systems are different, there's just a whole lot of variations from company to
Just to
company.
match what you already have.
It matches exactly. We purchased the original system in 2006, and this is the same vendor, the same system. It will butt right up, and we've had fantastic success with that company. The system has not broke down once in the last 10 years. We've even had to, fall back on its battery safety. Now, I will say that if you all approve it, there will be some additional cost. One is to have Bobby come in to make sure that the electrical is enough to meet the system. I believe they have the requirements in there. And then they'll put down the rails and a raised platform, and I'd like to get carpeting on that. And I'm thinking that we have carpeting that matches downstairs underneath the stairs. So the cost would be for the electrical.
And this will be, best value purchase, Lisa?
Yes, it'll be a best value.
And you have ample funds to cover the cost of it into archives.
Yes, sir, on the financials, and I've got with KW on there, and I think that I would like to do a line item transfer basically from, it's in the records archive.
Right.
From software to equipment.
Put some money to good use, looks like.
Yep.
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Shane. Do we have a second? Second from Commissioner Phillips. Do we have further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed. Thank you very much for working on that. Item number 21 is to discuss and considering entering into co-file interlocal project phase A contract for book preservation, recreation, and indexing for the county clerk's office through the interlocal agreement with Dallas County FRP 2015-032-6486 to be funded pursuant to local government code 118.0216, which is record management, and 118.025, which is records archive fund.
First off, that's RFP. That was the request for proposal from Dallas. And secondly,
Not FRP.
Rebecca made it work.
There was an outflow.
She's like, I know the judge wants these to be short and sweet, but I want to cover all the bases.
Oh, we'd already done this, so that's a different one.
No, we didn't.
Okay.
We did the first step where we entered into the interlocal, so Dallas has, an agreement with co-file, and we did an interlocal to join in on that agreement. So now Laura's bringing you the specific terms underneath the agreement.
Piggybacking on their contract.
Yeah.
And good luck.
They've already done all the work for us, so that's nice.
That's good.
Yeah, that's a good.
So do I have a motion on this?
Motion.
Motion, Commissioner Commissioner Allen, second from Commissioner Rosales. Any other discussion? All in favor,
I think
say aye.
there's some additional discussion that you guys need to have in regards to, Exhibit A on the top, just because I want the record to be very clear. Laura's proposing a multi-step project, but right now, she's just specifically talking about the front page of the project, and it's a large expenditure, so I just want the board to make sure that they're considering that.
What we've done is gone through all of the books and records that are in the office, and basically on page 2, the future phase, future phase B will be actually phase B, C, D, probably E, based on the revenues. Those other action items we will bring back to the court as the funds have been received. And basically, I think next budget cycle, we're proposing to spend $645,000 out of records management and records archive, and thereafter, we bring in about $550,000 a year. So for the next probably 4 or 5 years, there'll be money that will go ahead and take care of this. The records archive and records management have a sunset provision of September 1, 2019. So we want to go ahead and make sure that the funds that we're bringing in are being utilized to cover the book preservation.
Okay, so what were you saying, Rebecca?
I just wanted it to be clarified that we're just looking at Exhibit A and the handout that Laura gave you guys, but also really.
So we've already voted, but is everybody under?
Each year it'll come back and say.
Yeah, everybody's good. Right. Okay, good. Thank you for clarifying that. All righty, item number 22 is to discuss and consider accepting a check in the amount of $49,315 from J. Patterson Shadow Lakes for County Road 315 road repairs, which will overlay a portion of County Road 315 with 2-course chip and seal. This is from Commissioner Shane.
This cleans up our issues with Shadow Lake subdivision after we approved taking in the Shadow Lake roads. Went ahead and gave us our check for taking care of County Road 315, and that was in our original deal when we originally did this back in 2005. Shadow Lake.
That's from the west entrance to Shadow Lake.
It actually will be from the top of the interstate. It'll be from Interstate 22, the cemetery there on County Road 315, which goes into Shadow Lake.
So that's 2,000 feet.
Yeah, it's about 23, 20.
Yeah, something like that.
Right. It goes to, it takes in the cemetery. You want to take in the cemetery so that it will look nice. And Jim and I can talk about the other side of 315 that goes down to Howard Road there.
Yeah, we'll fix it at the same time, but the whole thing will be complete.
Right, so it's gone. I thought this was really nice of him.
Yeah,
Go ahead and
he
give
did
us
what
a
he said
check.
he would do, so
Right,
that's exactly
but it
right.
took us this long to get the check. 10 years, a little over 10 years, but we got it.
All righty, so do I have a motion on item number 22? Commissioner Shane makes that motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Rosales seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed. Item number 23 is to discuss and consider line item transfer. KW, you want to plug? We have quite a few of these this time, but.
This was a lot of cleaning up. Fiscal year, so there's certain things that are on the budget. Some of the big items with professional services. I'm sure you've seen a lot of invoices come through to the CA Kaufman, the additional audits that we're going to do this year and whatnot. So went ahead and covered that. Like I said, the rest of it is a lot of that coming up. Also had a budget amendment that was for that previous item for the Shadow Lakes, County Road 315. There's also a budget amendment there, giving Commissioner Shane that specific line item for that. To spend that money out of.
Any questions? Anybody have any questions on any of the line item transfers that you presented KW?
On the illegal dumping grant expenditure, we're decreasing that,
Correct.
I guess, to zero. So
Correct. Somehow
that's a
that-
grant.
Well, somehow that made it into the budget this year, even though that was a one-year grant that we had last year. It was just carried over into this year and we didn't catch it. So essentially that was money that we didn't, we're not getting that revenue in, so we're not making any kind of expenditure out.
Oh,
So-
okay. All right.
Took it off the book.
Correct.
Okay. I thought we were transferring it out.
No, no,
We
no.
don't have it. Yeah, we didn't get it, so you don't have it. Make it big.
Other questions?
Well, the one thing I was gonna just make a remark about is wastewater council fee. So this is our wastewater fee for the city of Kaufman, right?
I believe so. And it seems like I was looking at the expenditures from year to year, and there's not really a good way to estimate.
First year they've done it.
Right, so it went over a little bit, so I had to cover what it went up.
Yeah, that's the runoff water.
Right.
So they went up, I don't remember, I don't even think they had a fee.
They didn't, they implemented one.
Yeah, and I don't remember what ours was, it was pretty significant.
Yeah.
It was. Okay, other questions for KW on the line item transfers? Not, I'll entertain a motion to accept as presented.
Motion.
Motion from Commissioner Allen, second from Commissioner Rizal. All in favor say aye. Those opposed. And then item number 24, claim for payment.
Claims for payment this time was $564,631.67. I believe we just emailed out to you. Everything and Friday. Yes. I assume she still passes these around.
Same thing we have.
Yeah, correct. That's why it was emailed.
On this, packet here, general government, I see we have a school camera zone refund. Correct. $150. But we don't receive the whole $150 from the.
No, in fact, that's one of the things that I caught early on as soon as we had to make a refund. Since we don't receive the full amount, we actually have to contact ATS and make sure that they refund us that in that next month. And I keep up with that each month to make sure that we get refunded our portion of that $150. Or whatever the fee was that was refunded.
On the next page of that, we have a, the district attorney's office. Looks like they're paying for mileage, meals, and lodging, but that's their credit card that they have.
No, it might be a hotel, but I can call that if you like.
What page you on?
Page two. No, it's the next to the biggest package.
That's one you just handed out.
And we discussed trying to eliminate, using our credit cards, but, that when it's a hotel, that should be submitted and then a check for a hotel. Or a person also.
I don't know the specifics, but I can certainly look into that.
That's what we discussed in the past.
The purchasing, the credit card can't be used.
No, it's just, we use a credit card in case of emergency, they're not booking a hotel. That might be something we can visit with them about.
Would that be something that would need to be in the purchasing policy or the credit card policy?
Well, the person calls. Credit card calls. That's all, big packet on the, court-appointed attorney. Page 23. I see we have some again that were, cases like in 2 months being a year old, that they're just now billing us for. There's one there, there's another one there, there's another one here that's over a year old, and they all seem to be the same attorney.
What was the limit you guys said last time?
6 months.
6 months.
Is what we were talking about.
said over a year, we wouldn't pay for them.
Yeah, we decided not to pay for them if they were over a year old. You know, in my opinion, that this attorney, and it's, you know, $41.25, that's nearly a year old. I mean, what could that be? I would like to see us make some type of rule that if they submit bills over a year old, that they submit some type of letter of explanation as why they're not billing us for a year. I mean, that's going back last year's, you know, budget.
Actually, I think 6 months old, if it's overpaid
6 months is pretty lenient, I
Yeah, I
think.
mean, you give them the benefit of that.
Yeah.
Once the case is closed.
Yeah, once the case is.
Once the case is closed. 6 months, within 6
We
months.
talked to the judges about this, but we never did.
Well, I think Casey said that they were gonna implement a policy to get them paid within 90 days. He said that he wanted it 90 days.
But do we ever get anything in writing from them? telling us?
No, I don't think so.
And they really, I mean, to not approve payment, it doesn't have to be right. We make the final decision to approve or not approve payment.
They can send us a letter.
If they want to submit a letter of explanation why they can't bill for a year, you know, then we could review that and maybe pay them. But,
It's compromises your next year's budget. You know, somebody could send us 30,000 or 100,000.
And here's another one on page 24.
Theoretical.
You know, yeah, like 10 months old. So,
You know, is that something you can discuss with the judges, or would you like me to do that, or
I
how?
can certainly run it by Karen and see what she wants to do.
Okay. And,
that makes it tough, you know, paying stuff from last year's budget.
Yeah, we've already had that.
Yeah.
But you won't even hold this.
Well, I mean, it's a court decision.
No, I mean,
We have to watch the.
Yeah, I would suggest that we pay the bills with the exception of these, attorney's fees here, but.
Well, I would at least go with that one that's over a year.
Yeah.
I mean, the other ones haven't reached a year yet. So.
Yeah, our suggested limit was 6 months, so.
Let's stick with the year for now until we get with the judges to make sure it's 6 months, because there could be some extenuating circumstances we don't know about.
We definitely put, we said no. We're not gonna have it.
All the
That's what I thought. They signed off.
They've signed off on this. We wouldn't pay them unless they were signed off on
And
it.
this is from, whose court?
Can you say who it?
Well, I just don't want him to sign off on it
Well, it says
3 months.
too, I think.
You know what I'm saying? And to sit there and his for a couple of months, and we're blaming an attorney, and the judge actually, that his, not him, but just whatever reason, it's just sitting there.
Have something you wanted to interject?
I just like a chance to kind of look at what the agreement is with our court-appointed attorneys prior to making a rule that might be counter to that agreement. That way, in case it says 1 year, and you change it to 6, then they're not gonna, it wouldn't match.
Well, our public defender's board, I guess, would be the one to actually make the rules and implement. Is that not right?
I'm not quite sure how the process works, but I think we'd have some type of signed agreement with our attorneys that are, not only our public defenders, but they're going through, a different fund, but our court-appointed criminal attorneys. That's what you're talking about specifically, right?
Yes.
Well, you know, our deal was too that we made it a year ago that, we wasn't accepting more bills past a year.
Did we actually voted on that?
Yeah.
Did we?
On a year,
So-
not the 6 month, on the year. And that's why I said that the only one that we could question was there would be the year, because we said, a year's time, you know, you can't come up a year or two later and say, well, hey,
Yeah.
you owe me a bill.
That doesn't really correspond.
That's not a really good thing. And it's, you know, by legislative law, it's our discretion whether
So,
flat say no to a bill or not.
I know, and all I'm saying is that that doesn't correspond with the statute of limitations for a breach of contract. So I don't want us, the county, to be exposed to any liability from suit if someone does not be paid.
Who's got a contract that we're giving them 2 or 3 years to pay?
That's what I have to see, make sure we
I
don't have
mean,
anything
because
like
it
that.
starts messing up budgets.
Well, let's don't take any action.
And I mean, $69, you know, it's not gonna mess up.
$41.
Can you get the price number?
This is something that needs to be looked at.
I just need to pull that.
You gotta do something.
He does this one.
It's simpler to send a message on $69 than it is 2,000. They might wanna sue you on
I know,
2,000.
but lawyers service. You're not paying a lawyer, asking for it.
Well, that just encourages other people, they think they can turn in a bill, when they get ready to, they need some money, and we're just not.
You're right, I think we need to get our ducks in
Who
a row
wants to work
first.
on it?
Make sure that we're actually,
I'll look at
You can work on it with me?
Sure.
so am I holding any of these specifically?
No, we'll let them go. We definitely need to work on policy and implement this.
Well, let's see, who's on the board? You're on the board over there with them, with the judges?
They haven't met for some time.
Like what, last year?
You're up. Speak up.
And I'm on the board.
Yeah,
with them all.
but, he's our voting.
You can't be on there, just two of us can be on there.
Get over there.
I don't think they've actually met.
No, once,
Yeah, that I'm aware of, I wasn't there, at least.
we wanna make more.
Yeah. Judge Jones.
You work with Rebecca and get this resolved, and then you and the judge
Yeah.
do what you need to do.
No vote.
Okay, so are we okay, we'll go ahead and pay what we have now? Okay, so we have a motion in regards to paying bills.
Motions.
Motion from Commissioner Allen, do we have a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Phillips, any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, we have a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Commissioner Phillips, made the motion, Commissioner Rizal, second the motion, all in favor say aye. Those opposed, thank you very much.
Great job, great job.
Be back and produce it. It's not nice, but it's funny. I want the one that, I would like to do your face right now, but that wouldn't change me from a clerk to a client.
There you go. I wanted to make you guys aware that my mom, my 87-year-old mother.
Thank you. That was quick and painless, huh?